This is the fifth part of the lecture on accounting in the visual. Starting to look now at the ubiquity of accounting in our world by looking at images of accounting around society and just seeing how influential and powerful accounting is. Now, as I said, I might need to break this into two sections depending on how the time goes. But I'm planning to do it in one. So we're starting on slide 25, and if you've got the slides in slideshow view, which is what I recommend, you see each time you click on the mouse a new image will appear, and the first thing is some ATMs. And these are accounting machines. We don't often think of them as accounting machines, but every time you take money out of them, they're making a journal entry. They're going debit accounts payable, credit cash. Another accounting machine is a cash register. Again, every time you record a sale on a cash register, it's making a journal entry, debit cash, credit sales, or more specifically, debit cash on hand, credit sales. Because the next one, which is an EFTPOS machine, this one's doing similar, but it's doing debit cash at bank, credit sales. Barcode reader, it's recording a journal entry, debit cost of goods sold expense, credit inventory. Petrol pump's doing the same. Debit cost of goods sold expense, credit inventory. Parking meter. It's similar. Debit cash on hand, credit sales. This one's slightly different from the others. This is a mechanical machine. The others are electronic. And the journal entry here has to be manually transferred into the accounting system rather than connected through electronic means. So this is an older technology, but still an accounting machine. Another machine is a bus ticket reader on Action buses. Again, when you wave your ticket over this, it goes debit unearned income, credit revenue. It's unearned income because you have to put money into your MyWay ticket before you go on the bus. So it's unearned income when you deposit the money. And up in the top corner, the last one's come up as an image from Singapore about an automatic toll system they have for cars that travel into the inner city in Singapore. Again, it makes a journal entry, debit unearned income, credit revenue, because again you have to pay before you use it rather than pay after you've gone in. The second set of slides on page, or second slides, a set of images on page 26, or slide 26, are accounting documents. These are paper-based documents as much as they still exist. And a starting one is a receipt. Now it's a fairly obvious one. We still see these a lot. Possibly less obvious or less common these days is a paper invoice. Also next is theatre tickets. These are an accounting document in two ways. First off, they're a receipt. Show that you've paid the money and that your business has earned income. But it also gives you the right to access the services, so be able to watch the movie. So it's got two roles in accounting. Next one is an ATM receipt, fairly self-explanatory. A pay slip, if you still get a paper-based pay slip. I haven't seen one of those in years, mine's electronic. Bank statement, paper-based, again, I haven't seen a paper one of those either for years. And one we don't think of as an accounting document, but as the currency. This is both an accounting document in that it records the value of the transaction through the number printed on the note, $20 in this case, and also it's an accountable document because it's a numbered document seen with a serial number, and this allows the Reserve Bank to keep track of the amount of currency on issue and know what notes are on issue. Now, all of these things will disappear soon if they haven't already done it, even the currency. We're already planning, the Australian government's already planning for when Australia will move to an electronic currency only and do away with banknotes and coins. So all transactions will be processed by swiping a card or tapping a card. It's probably a decade away, a lot of questions still to be answered about how to manage it. But we're moving there rapidly already without government insisting we do it. We're doing it voluntarily. So So that's what's coming for us, that all of these paper-based documents will disappear and they get replaced with electronic documents. Now the electronic documents are slightly different in that the amounts are not recorded on the documents. So first thing up here is a credit card, and the credit card itself doesn't record the transactions, but the number on it allows access into a database that does record it. So it's an accounting document in the sense that it's a key into the database rather than the database itself. And a debit card does a similar job. Loyalty cards with retailers, Flybuys in this instance, again, it's allowing the business to know about what sales it's made to you, so it's collecting information on you that way, another virtual document, giving reward. BPay and other payment systems online are also accounting documents in terms of they can be used to deliver invoices and also to provide receipts of payment. The tags for tollways, another virtual accounting document. Again, it's a tool for accessing a database rather than having information on the itself. So your travel through toll road gates is not recorded on the tag, but the tag allows you to get into the database. Moving on to the next slide, which is got slide 28, which deals with signs. The most obvious sign are price tags. Wherever we have price tags, that's an accounting document, it's an accounting sign. It's telling us about the amount we'd have to pay for that particular item. Other accounting signs are not quite as obvious, such as a barcode. As I flagged earlier with the barcode reader, this is an accounting sign allowing the management of inventory. It also allows extraction of price data from the database as well. There are other signs in accounting not associated with transactions, but associated with accounting institutions. And the first one of these I'm going to point out is one of the large accounting firms, KPMG. Now whether it's KPMG or EY or Deloitte or PwC doesn't really matter. Go into any big city, you'll see the office buildings with these companies' logos in prominent places. And this is demonstrating the power of accounting in our commercial world. We may even see other, what we call our second tier firms, similarly with big office buildings. While they are smaller than the big four, they aren't small, they're still bigger businesses. So this just shows the power of accounting, that it can get us naming rights on large buildings in our big cities. In Canberra we have naming rights done slightly differently because of the nature of our industry. So we have accounting signs about the importance of government agencies that are accounting based. So the tax office and the one I've put up, but I could have put up ANAO, the Australian National Audit Office, or Department of Finance, or the Treasury. And with Department of Finance and Treasury in particular, they have rather impressive buildings to go with their signs to demonstrate the power of accounting over the management of the federal budget, of the federal government. And we see this in our elections, this power, because how often do we hear politicians talk about their ability to manage government finances as part of an election campaign? Moving off those sorts of signs, moving on to where we're moving there, on virtual signs, onto applications on smartphones and similar devices. This is off my iPhone. I just dragged a whole heap of apps over onto one screen so I can give an image of them. Sitting on here is things like Apple Wallet, which gives me access to receipts, invoices, tickets, booking information, my credit cards, all sorts of stuff through there. PayPal and ANZ gives me access to my various bank accounts. The ATO for recording stuff for tax. The next two are Biz Expense Tracker and Speedy Log are things for recording expenses and for travel on my car that I've done for business purposes. Next few are about transactions, Apple Store, since this is done off an iPhone. Domino's if I want to order a pizza. Booking.com if I want to book accommodation, and all sorts of others. I just grabbed a few of them off my phone and dragged them here onto the screen. The last couple there is Store Card, which manages all my loyalty cards, so I don't have to carry around a wallet filled with pieces of plastic. And a shopping list for me to place orders for things, particularly through supermarkets. The reason I flag these is just as a selection. When I started looking at my phone and all the apps I've got loaded on it, more than half of them were about accounting. They were about recording things or making transactions or interacting. The one I forgot to flag on this one is Excel, the ability to process data. So I've got lots and lots of things on my phone that are accounting related. And I don't think this is because I'm an accountant. I think this is just normal. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not normal. But we don't think of our phone as an accounting document. We think about it as a communication device, something to listen to music, watch movies, engage with social media, and sometimes even make phone calls. But it's a really important accounting document as well. And if you haven't thought about how you back it up, you better start thinking about it, because if you lose your phone, it's not just expensive in terms of having to replace it or inconvenient about being out of touch with people, but a whole heap of your records are lost if you haven't got them backed up properly. Now, in addition to the phone apps themselves, the next thing I'm going to click on will bring up Apple Wallet. And this is linked up through Apple Pay, that I can make transactions now without pulling out a credit card simply by waving my phone over an EFTPOS machine and putting my thumb onto it for a tip to record my fingerprint to authorise it. And this will become more and more popular. Google's got a version of it for Android as well. And I can even take this to my smartwatch, to my Apple Watch, and then I can make transactions using my credit cards just by waving my watch over the credit card reader, the EFTPOS machine. So we're moving to a world which is going even beyond the previous slide of credit card and card based to now app based and based around our smartphones. And these things, I can't see them becoming less important unless there's a technology that comes out that replaces them. Okay. The last group of things I want to talk about, and I'm going to break here before I start on this because I'm going to go over time if I don't, is hegemony and emancipation in accounting images. So I'll call this section to a halt, load this up, and then come back and record a part 6 dealing with these last two slides so I don't go over time.